Well, somewhere along the way, I ended up with way too many fragrances. This didn't just happen recently. I mean, this has been going on for a while. I have gotten rid of or sold a very small handful of fragrances, and yet I've bought hundreds of bottles per year. So we're kind of just, you know, the furthest thing from in control of my obsession here. I've been doing this for about 7 years. So that's one thing I want to say. You look at, you know, people making videos like me and plenty others out there, and you see all of these fragrances, right? Keep in mind, most of us have been doing this for a long time. If you're just starting out, don't expect to get anywhere near this crazy amount just like that. This definitely did not happen overnight. That would be a major issue if it did. So what I want to do today, okay, is just kind of give you some of the best ones. I've bought way too many. I have way too many. Spent way too much money, okay? I'm going to try to save you some time and money and bring forward some of the best on the market right now. And what I mean by right now is current in production. You can go out and get your hands on these and purchase them at this moment. I'm not going to be covering discontinued older fragrances because of course you really can't buy those. The list would be entirely different if I could include discontinued fragrances. Trust me, some of my favorites are no longer being produced, but that just wouldn't be fair. So I'm going to link everything that I talk about today down below in the video description. So if you're looking for full bottles or for samples, we can get you hooked up. Let's get things kicked off with Dior Homme Parfum. This one here is, in my opinion, the best Dior Homme. One of the best designer fragrances ever created. You know, it's definitely also one of the most popular, mostly in the community. I don't think you're going to run into too many people outside of the community just in day-to-day life wearing this. I think that's pretty unrealistic. I think most of the recognition is in the FRAGCOM. That's just kind of where it blew up. And given the nature of the scent, that's mostly where it's going to stay because it's not a Dior Sauvage where everybody's going to connect with it. It's a little bit more specific, using a lot of oud rose, leather, and iris to give it a very sweet, very seductive, masculine yet formal smell. And the thing about this, or the things about this that are going to kind of throw people off, are going to be the oud and rose. Now, I'll just go ahead and preface this by saying, normally I do not like oud and rose fragrances. When they're used heavily, or those two notes together are used heavily, I don't like them very much. It doesn't work for me personally. Nothing wrong with them, I just don't like them. Doesn't work. With this one here, it's balanced out so well that it's a non-issue. And in fact, I really like how those two notes here are used in combination with everything else going on here, most notably the iris. I love this scent. It is one of my favorites. There's one downside, and it simply is the price. It's $170 for a 100 ml bottle. That's a lot of money, you know, it just is. There's no way around it, especially for a designer. It's not as much as Sauvage Elixir when you're talking price per milliliter, okay, of course. 60 ml versus a 100 ml bottle, you know, this is about $20 to $30 more expensive than the 60 ml of Sauvage Elixir. So keep that in mind. Don't be fooled by the fact that the numbers are close when you take a look at the actual amount that you're getting. You know, Sauvage Elixir is more expensive. So that puts it into perspective a little bit. I think this is probably a little bit more unique and a bit better than Sauvage Elixir, but I do like Sauvage Elixir as well. You can grab a sample of this over at our website if you would like to try before you buy, because this one could be a little iffy on the blind buy side of things. L'Homme Ideal Extreme by Guerlain is up next. It is all about the plum, the tobacco, and the almond in here. So the almond carries over from everything else. That is what makes this line what it is. Okay, what is going to be different compared to the rest, of course, is the plum and tobacco combination, which on its own is very unique. You hardly ever see plum being used in men's scents. You see tobacco all the time, but that combination is award-winning in this one. It smells so good and it's so unique, while at the same time still being a bit familiar because it is a flanker and it does stay true to what this line is kind of trying to achieve. Classy almond men's fragrances with a really nice masculine edge. It's just, man, you know, it's another one that is very unique. Now this one I think could be a little bit more blind buy safe. It still, you know, it's important to know what you like and what you don't like. If you're not into tobacco scents, almond scents, and just the creamier, sweeter side of things, could be a little bit more risky. But if this is the type of thing you are constantly striving for, you could probably just blind buy this and be happy with it. But always, you got to kind of decide that for yourself. The good news about this one is it's not as expensive as what we were just talking about with Dior Homme Parfum. I've seen this one for as low as, I don't know, $85 or so now. So the price has come down. Very reasonable scent, technically niche at a designer price, great performance, great classy smell. Bottega Veneta Pour Homme Extreme is up next. So this one, it smells like you're wearing a flannel, really. It smells like a guy in the fall chopping wood with an axe, wearing a flannel. It just has basically focus on woods, pine needles, cedar, just this pine tree accord going on that just embodies everything that I would think about the season of fall, just spending it in the great outdoors. That's kind of what this one always smells like and reminds me of. Same thing with the original. If I had to choose one or the other, I'm always going to choose the extreme in this case. Now, they're both eau de toilettes. Yeah, I think that's kind of a miss. I wish that they would have bumped this up to an eau de parfum, or even a parfum would have been nice. So you're not getting an increase in concentration. The scent itself, the scent profile is a little bit more robust in the extreme. Bit better performance out of it as well, although this one isn't really going to be known as a huge performer to begin with. More or less just a very mid-range performer, something that'll get you through the day, but nothing crazy. But just the way that this one delivers itself makes up for the lack of performance. And really by that, it just doesn't hold up to the 14 hours that we all expect these days from the parfums and everything like that. You know, for an eau de toilette, it does pretty good. It's a little bit more of an expensive option here as well, but it's well worth it. Amazing quality, very unique, something that's worth checking out for sure. Rabanne Invictus Victory Elixir. I think this is one of the best out right now. I would say this and Invictus Parfum are two of the only Invictus fragrances worth buying right now. If you could get your hands on a bottle of Invictus Aqua 2024 for a good price, that one will be included as well. But given the rarity of that one, not really going to officially include it. But again, those two that I just mentioned are just some of the best. I really don't think Invictus Platinum is all that exciting. I don't think Invictus Legend is really all that great, and it's kind of getting hard to find now. The original Victory is fantastic, but how many do you really need? That's going to be up for you to decide. If you only want a couple, Invictus Parfum, Victory Elixir are great. And between those two, it depends if you want something more winter leaning and sweeter like Victory Elixir, or if you want something cleaner, soapier, and a bit fresher like Invictus Parfum. This is going to be up to you. This one's got tonka, a lot of it. No surprise, quite a bit of incense, some amber in here as well. It's kind of resinous, very sweet with a little bit of a smokiness, although nothing too crazy. It is still a Rabanne after all and an Invictus, so they're going to keep it pretty easygoing, but just with a nice little twist. It's also wildly different than the original Invictus. If you don't like the original Invictus, no problem. This is nothing like it. So that's something that a lot of people come to like as well. You're looking at around, I don't know, $110 for this, sometimes a bit less for 100 ml on discounters. Now that price will probably continue to come down a little bit more, but for an elixir, that's not really too bad. So if you want something that's just fun and beast mode for fall and winter, check out Victory Elixir. Acqua di Gio Acqua di Gio Parfum. I don't know what was going on there. You guys know I love the Parfum. It's one of my favorite scents of all time. And you're probably like, well, you know, it's only been out for like a couple of years. Yes, but it was Acqua di Gio Profumo. So most know this already. I might be, you know, just explaining it for no reason. But if you don't know, Acqua di Gio Profumo is what this smells like. Or this smells like Profumo. So they discontinued Profumo and released the Parfum. It is essentially the same thing minus a couple small variations that are so minute that most won't even notice them. I will say they cleaned up the opening on the Parfum. It's a little bit less green and stringent, whereas in Profumo it was, and that was my least favorite part of Profumo. The opening was a bit much sometimes. Still does have some of that going on, but it's a little bit more smooth and polished. You do get some of that smoky, kind of patchouli dry down going on, although I think they're They took out the patchouli and they put in an olebanum instead to give off a similar result, getting some of that incense as well. They took out one of the notes. It was either the incense or patchouli, and they replaced it. I can't remember off the top of my head. Doesn't really matter all that much because it still smells so similar. It is one of the most versatile scents that you could buy on the market. This works for any time of year. Spring, summer, fall, winter, it does not matter. Just because there's a little bit of a sweetness doesn't mean that you can't wear it in summer. I mostly wear this in summer. Even when it's hot summer day, I wear it. I especially love it in summer evenings. But it doesn't really matter. I'll just wear it whenever. But if I am kind of craving a fresher scent in the winter just to change things up, this is typically one that I would reach for. It's a great performer coming in at a parfum concentration. Now, price on this one is not unreasonable now. It's stabilized a lot on discounters. You know, $115, $110 or so. The new ones now have a magnetic cap again. They used to not. Well, they did in Profumo. They came out with the Parfum. And then it had a snap cap, and now the 100 ml Parfums have a magnetic cap again. Mancera Intense Cedrat Boise. I just recently did a video on 10 of the best Mancera fragrances. Well, it was Mancera fragrances ranked from worst to best. But even in that video, I made sure to clarify that none of them were bad. I just have my preferences. So just because I said worst, again, not bad. The fact that they all made it into that video, it shows that they are good. But I do think that when you start getting into that top 5, top 3, that's really where you should focus your money. And I don't know if I should spoil that video or not, but this one, it did very well. You can post down in the comments and say which spot this one made it at if you watched it. I just feel like I shouldn't spoil that. You know, I want people to go watch my video, but I also know that you can just skip ahead anyway. So, you know, you guys know where this one landed. And it's just, for the money, one of the best niche fragrances you can buy. It's basically right at $100. I think sometimes it'll creep under just a little, 90, 95, which for a pure parfum, for 120 ml, magnetic cap, nice atomizer, nice presentation, that is just absolutely unbelievable to me. Just how great a value these Manceras are for the price point. I mean, perspective is everything. This is more affordable than a lot of designer fragrances out there. 120 ml, a touch under $100. Take a look at all the YSL Ys and the Acqua di Gios and Dior Sauvages and everything that's over $100 for 100 ml. It is insane how good this one is for the price. Great performer as well. It's a 12+ hour performer. That true parfum really beefs things up. It's a nice woody, fruity scent. Think of like Acqua di Gio, but sweeter, less pineapple focus, more of a sweet fruitiness, and just more of a heavier woody base. It's kind of how this one could be described. Acqua di Gio does have a bit more of a brightness, a bit more summer oriented. I find this one to be polished in a way that it's just kind of built for all year round, maximum versatility use. It's kind of how I look at it. Nice atomizer. I love how this one smells off the opening. The dry down is amazing. I think everybody should have this in their collection. If you don't want to blind buy, at least try it some way, somehow. At least you'll know what you're up against because it is worth checking out. We're going to go from one niche to the other. Now, unfortunately, this next one is very expensive. I just feel like when you want to smell unique, you want to have great performance, and you just really to double down on the uniqueness thing, nobody else out there is really going to be smelling quite like this. This is it for me. It's Amouage Reflection Man 45 Extrait. If you are patient, you can sometimes get it for under $300, okay? Which is still a lot of money. I've seen it for as low as $220. It was on FragranceNet. I sent out an email notification and it sold out quickly. It can happen. You just got to be quick. So typically you're looking to pay a bit more than that. And I know it's not in everybody's price range. I will bring this to the table. You can get Gucci Guilty Elixir, which smells pretty close, for less, but it's still expensive price per milliliter wise. But as far as money out of pocket, Gucci Guilty Elixir would get you into this DNA that is somewhat similar, just for less money, but again, definitely isn't cheap. And so if you've smelled Reflection Man, this is still very similar, but it truly is improved in every way. And mainly it's the performance. You know, the original's an eau de parfum, and you would think it would be a really good performer, and it's fine, but nothing to write home about. So spending, you know, quite a bit more, you get this, which just performs exponentially better. It's a little bit heavier as well, but still primarily a white floral. I absolutely love this stuff. I wish so badly that it was more affordable. And maybe at some point it'll stabilize and be consistently in stock for a lower price. I'm hoping for that, and maybe a clone brand will come out with something that's identical for less. I'm really hoping for that because I love this DNA and I want everybody to experience it. It's really good. Tom Ford Ombre Leather Parfum. It's a leather scent. That's it, really. I mean, they've got a few other notes in here. It's a little bit of a fresh kind of floral component, but again, leather is all it is. And it's a very relatively fresh, smooth, wearable leather. It's nothing too earthy or strong or off-putting. You know, it's very, very easygoing, very approachable. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out or you've been smelling fragrances for 20 years. I think everybody could appreciate Ombre Leather Parfum. Le Male Elixir by Jean Paul Gaultier. Got a honey tobacco combination with quite a bit of vanilla and tonka bean and lavender as well. Currently it's the newest. At some point next year, we're probably going to get another one, but it's a true parfum. Of course, it's an elixir, so price is a little bit higher than some of the others, but not by a crazy amount. It's worked its way down to a reasonable, I don't know, 120 bucks or so for 125 ml. This is obviously the 75 ml bottle, all that I could get at the time when it was brand new. You know, a lot of times these bottles are not a whole lot cheaper than the 125, or the other way to say it is, a lot of times the 125 isn't a whole lot more expensive than this. A lot of times it might make sense to spend the extra $30 to go up to the 125 because sometimes that's about all it is. And you get so much more at a better price at the end of the day. Last up for this video, we have YSL Y Eau de Parfum Intense. Theoretically, I would get rid of my Y Eau de Parfum and keep this, okay? That's how much I like this stuff. It quickly shot to the top of the Y line for me. I don't know if they'll be able to top this one, but I'm curious to see if they'll try. Now, that would probably never happen. Like, why would I get rid of my Y Eau de Parfum? It doesn't make sense, so that's not gonna happen, but theoretically, that's what I would do. Or if I was repurchasing the Y fragrances, because I lost them all or they all went away, this would be the first one that I would buy, and I wouldn't be in a big hurry to repurchase the Eau de Parfum. I would honestly probably get a bottle of YO Fresh if I could find one before getting the Eau de Parfum again. Because this is the Eau de Parfum without all of that sweet cloying apple, which sometimes is really nice, other times is a bit too much. And I like how this one is blended with that geranium, sage, lavender, amberwood focus. Just very aromatic, much more aromatic than all of the others, basically. It's just, man, it is so, so good. I actually find it to be kind of interesting. Whereas the Eau de Parfum, you could argue that it's pretty boring as far as a challenging standpoint or uniqueness. This one definitely is not challenging, but it is a bit more unique. So I will link all these fragrances down below. If you want to pick up full bottles, they'll be down below. Always shop at discounters. If you want to try before you buy, we do carry some of these over on our website, decantcenter.com. If you're looking to just, try something out before you go into a full bottle, you kind of are on the fence about something, you can check us out. We'd love to earn your business and kind of give you an idea of what that scent is going to be like before you spend a bunch of money on a full bottle. Got free shipping over $49, a great rewards program. Check out our redemption options on that rewards program. It's 2 points for every dollar spent, but you can get some really, really good discounts. They stack up quick. We give you a free sample with every order. We got fast shipping as well. Pay over time options if you're spending over 50 bucks. No reason not to give us a try. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.